With the recent War Within release, it's finally high time to start a zero to hero journey on my warrior. It's not going to be exactly zero, as in new expansion we have plenty of leveling to do in new areas, so we are going to start from level 70 with item score of 480, which is mostly the pre-patch event level. The main goal of this challenge is to get currently the best gear possible and available in Season 1, which is still a week away. So, today we're going to hit level 80 and start the preparation for mythics and raiding while enjoying new content along the way. For the sake of this challenge, we will only be using this character resources, so no external gold or help whatsoever, and we will be doing everything with pickup groups, so no pre-made parties or random players. Our journey begins in Dalaran, right after the events from pre-patch, where Magni was slapped in the face by xal'atath by sending her some naughty nude thoughts through their connection. Anyways, he did finally wake up, and it seems that we're going to Khazalgar, so first thing we have to do is to help prepare Dalaran for the teleportation. I wonder how many times Blizzard will actually change its address in the future. The great thing about this expansion is that we are being thrown straight into action after the teleportation, as the whole Dalaran is being under attack. Cutscenes and gameplay are very nicely balanced, creating more engaging experience overall. For the moment, we are playing as an arms warrior, and I have to admit that being not that much geared from Dragonflight still makes us completely overpowered. Just look how this mini-boss falls to my trinket one-shot. Wrecked. After some Naruber genocide, if that makes sense, we get some awesome cinematics in which Khadgar is probably killed and Dalaran completely destroyed. I guess it will not change its address anytime soon. We wake up on the shores of Khazalgar, being constantly under attack, which gave me the Omaha Beach vibes with all the spells and arrows flying around. We managed to clear the shores while being rescued by the Stormgriffin raiders that led us to Dornogal, this expansion's new capital city. It will still take some time to learn how to navigate it, but aesthetically I like it more than Valdrekin. After some storytelling and personal business stuff, we finally managed to hit the road and start the campaign in the open world. The first zone is quite beautiful, but also very similar to Onaran Plains from Dragonflight, so no wonders here. With first quests, we are introduced to the Delve system as we enter our first solo dungeon on Isle of Dawn. I set up Bran's Bronzebeard to be my healer and check the affixes, and we are ready to go. The first impression is really nice, as Bran is constantly interacting with us and we do have some extra objectives along the way rather than just rushing to a boss. On top of that, this one in particular had a Spider-Man mode which allowed us to pull ourselves to grapple points to reach certain areas without springing the traps and mechanics. We can also stumble upon rare monsters that, when killed, can bestow upon you a blessing that boosts your utility in Thorgus style, but less powerful. I like that they don't touch our class mechanics, turning to be a literal god in a delve, and then hit like a wet noodle outside of them in a second. The final boss was laughable, but it seems that on current level we are mowing down everything in our path, so it didn't bother me that much. Scaling will definitely turn everything harder on higher levels, although I do have to admit that it's kinda against the standard RPG rules where levels do make you more powerful. Scaling make it exactly the opposite until we finally start to grab gear on max level. It seems that delves reward you with some gear based on the item level shown before entering, and additionally Bran seems to be getting his own XP and abilities. I'm personally not a big fan of any pets and helpers, but for people that like such features, this can be another great customization option. The great thing is that after the delve is completed, we just seemingly are back in the open world without any loadings, and I just happened to ding level 71, which allowed me to choose my first hero talent. I love the synergy between Slayer spec that allows us to use Bladestorm more often and fits the theme of my favorite class in the Warcraft universe, which is the Blade Master. Look, even the hero talent's icon fits the theme. With delves out of the way, now it's high time to join some dungeon groups, as this is a proper Zero to Hero challenge, right? Also, currently everything we drop from monsters like rares is scaled to item level of 450 at maximum, so I will probably have to wait until level 75 for some upgrades. Leveling is pretty standard, no fancy stuff in here. Kill, collect or interact with object things. I do really like though that they made the main campaign shorter and you will have to do side hustles to get extra experience. This gives you some more freedom during leveling without the feeling that you will have to finish campaign on max level. You can freely explore, do delves or dungeons in the meantime, as you will need that extra XP anyways. The storyline finally brings us to the first dungeons of expansion, the Rookery, but unfortunately no RDFQ showed up, so I chose the AI team to push the story. It was pretty funny, as I didn't use the followers in any dungeons so far, and I could just smoke everything in sight where the guys were following me. I did get lost a little bit in the dungeon after you kill the first bird boss, as I was trying to do some fancy stuff with the lightning bolt form, as in reality you just need to fly down to the basement. Yeah, I'm not the brightest bulb in the room, I guess. Anyways, the rest of the dungeon went fast and ended with no rewards. A very nice surprise awaited in the Me Yard, where in one of the quests we play kind of a tower defense minigame. There is some nice preparation beforehand to place our units, but in the end I don't even know if it matters or if you can lose it. I managed to complete it without any issues, and then we witnessed the greatest sacrifice of one of the leader dwarves of Isle of Dawn. Then, along the way back to the capital, I stumbled upon another delve, so I decided to explore. This time, we are delving in rooms of darkness which require you to keep a cobbled candle on your head to see anything and not let the darkness consume you. Pretty nice that each one of those have different flavor. We managed to hit level 72 and get epic leatherworking recipe that hopefully is worth something on the auction house. Also, finally the dungeon queue popped, so I managed to get into the Rookery once again, but now with real players. There was no real difference in difficulty. I would even say that it was easier, as we were pulling whole rooms along the bosses and just mowing everything down with Bladestorm. No rewards this time either, so I decided to hit level 73 with some side quests. After dinging, we head into the Coreway, as it is finally open and allow us to head deeper into the Khazalgar. In Ringing Deeps, we finally start to get some small upgrades from quests, and I do manage to get into the Stone Vault dungeon. We do get some drops on item level of 490, but those are no upgrades for us yet. The fun part about the deeps is that you fight a lot of kobolds in here, so it kind of invokes the Elven Forest vibes, slaughtering whole armies of those little candle enjoyers. I also stumble upon a mining node that is very deadly, as during mining it drops bombs right on your head, which is pretty hilarious or frustrating in the long run. There was also a very fun mission for the kobold that was kinda roguelike, where we had to sneak around disguised as a kobold and meet the biggest candle in the world named Waximus. I love the gladiator reference. On top of that, Magni finally thrown away his Azerite armor. I mean, come on man, BFA is already 3 expansions away. It's high time to do this. True beauty begins when we finally enter Hallowfall. The zone entrance is extraordinary and flying makes it even more impressive. This time we are helping Farin Lothar, as she is the light in the tunnel for the Arathi descendants, and it's incredible to see that even after everything there's still hope for Anduin. Who knows, maybe the power of love can still redeem him. I really can't get over how breathtaking Hallowfall is. It's on a whole different level. The Dragon Isles were impressive, but this place is something else entirely. While flying around and sightseeing, I have found a great upgrade in one of the satchels I picked up. I've always loved stumbling upon chests and hidden loot in RPGs. It's like this little thrill of discovery that never gets old. It's a shame it only really happens during leveling, but it still feels awesome. Then there was this really touching quest where I got to play with kids at an orphanage. It's a powerful reminder of how in times of war, the children are the most vulnerable and often forgotten. It adds a lot of depth to the story and makes this expansion even more special to me, as I have a small kid myself and it just hit me differently. So we finally made it into a Neruber dungeon, and I was pretty pumped to get in there and start smacking some Neruber faces. The previous dungeons were quick and intense, so we jumped right in with a blade storm to the face. But oh man, I didn't expect to see actual holes in the spider webs. I learned that the hard way when I accidentally stepped right into one and fell down to my death. We ran into the same scaling issue as before, where lower level characters were dealing way more damage than the higher level ones. It was pretty funny, honestly. I was only the 4th of damage meter, even behind a level 70 healer. But whatever, I just keep blade storming through the mobs. When the big spider boss finally showed up, it died in seconds, literally. I did get small upgrade for my hands, so that was cool. But until we hit the heroic dungeons, there's really no point in sweating it. I tried playing around with mechanics, but in normal mode, there's really no reason to bother. We breezed through that Neruber dungeon and then headed over to the Rookery one I have already completed a few times. Nothing much to say about it, except that AoEing down half of the instance in one pull was pretty fun. I managed to snag a weapon upgrade that boosted my damage by 30, which was pretty awesome. Plus, we found a rare spawn outside the instance that dropped a belt upgrade, so overall things are looking pretty good. On level 78, we finally picked up the Overwhelming Blades ability. Now every time we use a Blade Storm, it applies a debuff that makes enemies take even more damage. After a tough fight, we had to clean up the Veneration point, and then out of nowhere, we got an awesome ring upgrade from a rare monster drop. It reminded me of the good old days when hunting rare mobs always rewarded you with something special. One of the best parts of the experience was the transition between Hallowfall and xal'atath. It's so seamless that you hardly notice you're moving between the zones. It feels like the story is truly continuing rather than just switching to a new quest hub. The design of these zones really pulls you in. The initial questline was pretty epic too. We were searching for Anduin, who had gone missing, and ended up clearing out a bunch of Nerubians from the ship. The scenery kept changing, and the spells and abilities of our characters made it all more exciting. Even though the mechanics are familiar, it's still thrilling at this stage. Hitting level 78 was when I really started noticing constant upgrades from quests and loot drops. It felt like rewards were flying in from everywhere, and then we finally meet some new allies in xal'atath, who look like they came straight out of an Avatar movie, though they've got a different color scheme. I finally dived into some PvP action in War Within. To my surprise, I stumbled onto a brand new battleground that I had no idea how to navigate. No instructions, no clue what to do. Suddenly, I realized there were 10 Alliance players and just one Warlock standing at a Horde spawn point. So, I ended up being an easy win for us. After the win, we have got some free honor and a crate of battlefield goods. Naturally, I was curious to see what I would get, but when I opened the crate, all I got was an item that had 340 item level. I mean, seriously, that's awful. Next up, I jumped into a standard Warsong Gulch and had a sweet duel with a Death Knight, which eventually I won. Then got into some intense action against a mage in DK once again while defending our base. Things got pretty chaotic since I'm a bit rusty in PvP, but I did manage to come out on top. Just when I got really close with the DK, a friendly monk swooped in to help me out, and together we took them down. Eventually, a druid stole the flag while the mage kept me tied up in battle. Even though we lost 1-0, I still managed to climb up the charts a little bit, so I didn't feel completely useless. Always, when there's a lost PG running, I try to find myself some solo missions away from the whole Zerg to find some 1v1s, but let's get back into the story for now. I have to say that the look of xal'atath is actually pretty awesome, especially with that epic background music. It was really cool to see how we ended up becoming friends with spiders. I was thinking this little spider might be the rebellious type, not the kind to just let the xal'atath turn the whole kingdom against the true Nerubians. There are also some unexpected reunions. Flynn Fairwind, he's the one of my favorite characters from the BFA, so that was a very nice surprise. While I was out questing, I stumbled upon the Spiral Weave Delve, so I figured, why not give it a shot? I have to admit that at level 78, those delves are a lot tougher. The enemies have way more health, and we deal less damage compared to when we were overpowered at level 70. Plus, the monsters and boss mechanics are way deadlier, but honestly, I kind of like it that way. It's more challenging, which makes it more fun. On my second attempt, I managed to take down the boss without too much trouble. It was definitely worth it, because I got a sweet necklace with a ton of crit, which is awesome for Arms Warrior. After finishing the delve and turning in some quests to Anu Bazal, we hit level 79 and I have grabbed the Cooling Cyclo talent, which boosts Bladestorm damage even further. Eventually, we finished the story and unlocked the world quests and adventure mode, but to fully continue the campaign, it looks like we'll need to hit level 80. So, without further ado, I grabbed the weekly quest to complete 6 world quests, but unexpectedly in the end, I hit max level by honing my blacksmithing skills. Right after that, we finish up some world quests to get weekly out of the way, and in the process we managed to get a very nice cloak, chest, legs and boots upgrade. The cherry on the cake was new weapon of 574 item level that we have found in the weekly quest cache. This sets us up very nicely for heroic dungeons to further polish our gear.